Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel 1 Television. On The Point of View, we get the right guests. We ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. We have a very, very big guest tonight, a man who has served this country and continues to do so in various capacities. He'll be sharing his views on a number of contemporary issues, including controversial resource governance matters, constitutional reform, and whether indeed the fourth Republican democracy we have has delivered the goods for the public. Professor Hon Oquaye is my guest. When we come back, stay with us.
You're probably wondering how a ball got here. You see, a ball is not He's got plans, big plans. But there's just one small problem. His wallet didn't get the memo, so he decides to take a shortcut. That was a bad idea. And that's how he found himself sitting across area champion, the great Avle. Let's just say, not every quick fix fixes everything. But with a standard loan, he gets the upgrade he needs and the freedom to actually breathe. With a standard loan, the only thing chasing you are your dreams.
Hello, Auntie Abena. You won't believe what just happened. Grandma received her 4 TVs. 4 TVs? Yes, 4. Okay, I'm coming.
I'm not put out of
It's like a scammer now. You are listening to spare grandma like that. Grandma. 4 TVs, 2 fridges, microwave, could you why? You want to open an electrical shop for her?
Hey, no! It's a regular 100 cities I sent her.
I'm sure it's Uncle Atu.
Let's go.
Atu? Why? Why are you spreading a grandma with appliances?
Spread who? When? How? He's all. It could be Amma. Let's call Amma.
Let me call him. Hello? Why? What are you saying? Appliances for grandma. Why? Hey! It's not you.
What's for grandma?
Hello? Hello, grandma. So who is buying all this stuff for me?
For me, Grandma. Grandma knows the go to the lecture. If they do me 5 hours per year, when I buy ticket 100 cities, I pay them small or big. I automatically get my free gift.
Yes, so with the luckiest, anytime you buy tickets up to 100 cities, whether small or at once, you are guaranteed to win a free gift. TV sets, fridges, hampers, airtime, cash. Remember to dial *7125, choose option 4, and follow the prompt. With the luckiest, the good for you. Sometimes you got the cash. Rooted in heritage. Shaped by ambition. Defined by style. Inspired by soul. This is Afro Quality, the first multi-country concept store for African brands. Now in Nairobi, Kigali, and Accra.
So there are few people who can genuinely say that they've lived their life in service of a nation, whether as a lawyer, politician, political science professor, or even a prelate. Professor Hon Oquaye has really lived a full life. Before we talk to him, here's a quick summary of his accomplishments in terms of a profile.
Professor Hon Oquaye, born on 4th April 1944 in Osu, Accra, is a prominent Ghanaian politician academic, barrister, diplomat, Baptist minister, and advocate for good governance and women's rights. Raised in Asamankese in a politically active family, his father was a founding member of the United Gold Coast Convention. He was influenced by figures like Dr. J.B. Dankwa and Professor Kofi Abrifabuzia, fostering his dedication to democracy. Educated at Presbyterian Boys Senior Secondary School and Apam Secondary School, he obtained a B.A. Hons in Political Science from the University of Ghana, an NLB Hons and B.O. from the University of London, and PhD from SOAS. As a professor at the University of Ghana, he led the Political Science Department, authored books such as Politics in Ghana, 1972 to 1979 and 1982 to 1992, and received awards including Rockefeller Senior Scholar and Fulbright Scholar honors. His research critiques military interventions, promotes human rights, and examines decentralization, featuring in leading international journals. A founding member of the New Patriotic Party (NPP) in 1992, his political roles include Ghana's High Commissioner to India between 2001 to 2005 and the Maldives 2003 to 2005, Minister for Energy between 2005 and 2006, and Minister for Communication 2006 to 2007. He served as MP for Dom Kwabenya in 2005 to 2013, Second Deputy Speaker from 2009 to 2013, and Speaker of Parliament from 2017 to 2021, overseeing key reforms. In recent years, he chaired the NPP's 2023 Presidential Elections Committee for Transparent Primaries. In 2025, he criticized Ghana's IMF dependency as hindering growth, advocated service contracts for natural resources like oil to ensure national ownership, and warned against fiscal risk in renewing tallow oil licenses. This month, he addressed legal issues involving arrests and promoted party unity at the NPP's amended constitution launch, emphasizing enduring service to the party. Married to retired Major and Nurse Alberta Oquaye, he is a father of 6, including son Mike Oquaye Jr., a former diplomat himself. Tonight, on A Point of View, we welcome this resilient statesman embodying intellect and patriotism.
Prof, it's good to have you. Thanks for welcoming us into your house.
Thank you very much for coming. It's a pleasure.
It's always good to see you, particularly because you went to the right secondary school. So in the intro, we noticed there are many parts of you. Of course, you're a political science professor. You are a legal person. You're also a politician. You served your constituency 2 consecutive terms. You became deputy speaker before you became speaker. And you're also a man of God. So which of the 4 do you consider to be your main calling?
My motto is service to God, service to man, and my life is done. So that is the way it is. So service to God, service to man.
So now you're a statesman.
I like to be, because there are times when one must be a bit apolitical and consider national issues in a broader perspective and the national interest.
But which of the 4 do you enjoy most? I remember when I got to Legon, a lot of people spoke about your political science classes in the 90s, 80s and 90s. Of course, you were MP for 2 terms for this constituency. You've been speaker, but you also preach at the Baptist church. And of course, you're a lawyer who can put on your wig. Which of the 4 would you say you enjoy doing the most?
In a way, they are complementary.
Okay.
And they come back to the service to God and service to man. I enjoy doing pro bono cases, as much as, of course, I loved good fees. But it makes you feel that you are doing something for humanity. I love to give back to wherever I've benefited from, including my good old preset.
Correct.
Yeah.
These days, you are at the IEA very often. And the IEA seems to have taken a very clear position around some resource governance issues. What has been your affiliation with the IEA, and why is natural resource governance so critical to you?
Yes, I've been associated with the IEA for a very long time, even as a university lecturer and so on and so forth. And my interest, particularly in Parliament, is also connected with the IEA as well as the department. When Parliament reconvened in 1993, there were only 2 members who had been to that house before. The speaker had no, antecedents to come on and so on. So we used a lot of our own book knowledge to lecture the members of parliament at that time. And Frederick Ebert Foundation, the British Council and others were always organizing one seminar or the other. So from the theory now to the practice, ultimately. This is how it evolved.
So even that one-sided 93 parliament, which had essentially just the NDC,
yes,
you were part of those who trained or initiated the MPs into parliamentary work.
Yes, the good old Speaker Babin is very fond of saying that he's my teacher, And he always refers to that time where academics now had to tell members of parliament at least their book knowledge of what are the duties of parliament. So having gone on to that stage, I formed a number of issues in my own mind, including private members' bill. So when the opportunity came to me to be speaker, of course, I didn't waste any time in introducing those measures, etc.
There are actually about 10 reforms you brought, which if we have time, we can speak about later on. But it seems like we've gone full circle, because in the Fourth Republic, 93 Parliament was a complete one-sided parliament. Many people think 96 was the most impressive, because that was the first time we saw real opposition. This is the parliament where your friend Akufo-Addo and co. and Osafo Maafo and the rest were the leaders. Then, of course, there's the 2000 Parliament, which is when President Kufuor was in power. You joined in 2005, and you were in Parliament for 8 years. Second term, you were a Deputy Speaker. Then, of course, there's the 2017 to 2021, where you became the Speaker. And, of course, are you able to rank the Parliament and tell me which one is the most effective?
Oh, it's very difficult to say that, particularly since I was also a player in the process. Let others judge.
But for the previous parliament of 2021 to 25, people believe that because it was so evenly split, that was the best opportunity for consensus building and also doing important work which would require coming together. Is that a position you agree with?
I will make a general statement about that and say this country is too much polarized. And some people must have an agenda. How do we deal with this polarization and forge national cohesion? Because there are so many matters that, for example, are purely legal. But you will find that we are tempted to still go the political way to the disadvantage of the fact that we all want the rule of law to prevail. It is not good for a society. So that should be a complete agenda that needs to be looked at by men and women who have tasted office and know what is happening, and they feel something must change. We cannot go on like this as if to say, we even take it on to football, which we all love. Football is not really uniting us anymore, because you know the principle against. I mean, against who? But that is the reality of the situation. We must change it.
Is the problem the system we run, the first past the post and the winner takes all?
I have a very important paper on countervailing authority in Ghana, a whole paper on that, published on that matter. You see, political space must be such that different layers must be available for different categories of people to play. It's very, very important. Otherwise, it brings frustration, desperation in the political process. If you go to America, the senator is so important that, have you ever heard any senator going to become a secretary of state? I mean, one of those positions, minister for this? No, it doesn't happen. Or a governor with his own budget in his own kingdom, actually. He doesn't really worry about what happens in Washington, because there is countervailing authority. Our local government system, for example, is such that the center even buys chalk for local governments in certain circumstances. Chalk. So in that kind of situation, everything goes back to central government. When the roof is off, people are in a hurry to condemn the president, whilst it should not be so.
So in your view, the hybrid ministers and MPs is something that has to change if the democracy
that
will
one
be better
is very,
oiled.
very mandatory because it's like serving two masters. Our constitution wants to eat a little from the British way, yet it wants to be an American one, and so on and so forth. Once we are going a la America, we must go it full and get all the benefits that come with it. And no wonder Parliament cannot be a check on the executive. The member of Parliament whose party is in power is more anxious catching the eye of the president to become a minister than anything else, than catching the eye of the speaker in Parliament. No wonder much of the time the Parliament is virtually empty, because the system has no countervailing mechanism, and you find everybody looking towards the one and only one source, that is the Jubilee House.
So in that paper, who do you recommend to resolve this? Because the very people who are given the power to deal with such matters are the beneficiaries of this problem, the MPs. So it seems to me as though the executive and legislature are not necessarily interested in this separation that you are recommending. So how are we going to achieve this?
Maybe some disinterested people must do it in this way. Make it in futuro, make it for the future. In other words, from the year so and so, we shall adopt this system of so and so. I think that is something that will help us.
A decision that doesn't affect the current Parliament.
Exactly. Otherwise, they are human and they don't look at it realistically. But actually, it is no good. If you look at the fact that Parliament is actually supposed to be an overseer, and it has primary oversight responsibility towards the executive, and yet you want to be part of it. You can imagine a member of Parliament who is happy to be a chairman of a board. When matters concerning that corporation comes, whether it's VRA or something else, how do you yourself feel when you are in a position to superintend, to oversee the functions of that? It is difficult.
This is the point of view. We're speaking to Professor Michael Oquaye, the Right Honourable former Speaker of Parliament, former MP for the Dom Kamenya constituency, former Minister of various portfolios, and also a statesman. Since we are discussing systems, let's talk about constitutional review briefly before I come to natural resource governance. In the next few days, Professor Kwesi Prempeh will be presenting his initial report to His Excellency the President on constitutional review. In my adult lifetime, this will be the third effort. And I'm sure you've seen more. So there's the Professor Fiajo group, 2009 to 2011. Then there's Oseche Mensa Bonsu, post 2021, probably to around 23, 24. And there's now this. First question, why haven't these things worked?
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that this was the main reason why, after leaving Parliament, the IEA brought me there as a distinguished scholar in the Center for Constitutional Studies within the IEA. So we had a very important sessions. We had Nana Dr. SKB Asante himself coming to brief us what happened. Sam Okudjeto Esquire, who was really there, Ato, an NDC stalwart who was also
Kofi Ato,
who was actually also there, Justice Brobe, who was the secretary during that period. So it was a very powerful thing. To suffice to say, we took the whole report in volumes to the Constitutional and Legal Review Committee, and they came also to visit one whole day with the research team. Professor Prempe is a distinguished scholar and academic. We all respect his viewpoints, and I believe that definitely it will be a good addition. Professor Fiajo, who was my contemporary in Legon, I know him very well. Definitely, he did a very good job. It was a voluminous
1,000 pages.
Yes, very well researched and presented. I believe that this time round it will work. But you see, back to those political undertones that affect even constitutional review. One of the areas of local government, should we have the MCE elected? The answer generally you will see is yes. Do we have members of the district assemblies elected? People will generally also say yes. Then how are they to be elected? The two political parties, leading political parties, have not come to a consensus on this. Therefore, you will see what the fiasco was when the last referendum was proposed under the previous government. Because as much as the NDC says, let us elect them, nevertheless, it also says on non-political lines. The NPP position was at that time, it should be politicized. This distinction should not be taken for granted because they are virtually playing on parallel lines and the lines will meet if we continue like this. We will want to see a think tank meeting with them and then forging a media way, because that is the only way we can make progress, for example. And if you consider some of the areas, including national planning, it's a very serious matter. We must not let the executive control all lands anyhow. If you look at the system of public inquiry, for example, taking a cue from the English planning law, you cannot make any such changes without very serious discussion and an open inquiry by the people in the community. Open, and when we say open, they mean open at the town council halls and so on and so forth. And then notices are given which make people have the necessary objection well placed. But in a paternalistic manner, unfortunately, in this country, you'll be there when they will say government has decided to give these lands to so and so, do that land to that, release so and so. I mean, government is a custodian. Government is a trustee. That power that government has, I would say, arrogated to itself, notwithstanding whatever government, is to my mind wrong. And for that matter, there must be ways and means of ensuring that there's active public participation, not after the event, but before the event arises. These are some of the areas, including, for example, where our planning system. We don't have one, and there's no national development program. I have proposed, for example, and we've taken this to the committee, that there must be a National Development Planning Commission which is really apolitical. Its tenure should not coincide with that of any president. They are not actually appointed by any president. How do you get them? They come by way of various institutions, which I call institutional representation. Lawyers, institution of engineers, and all relevant areas where you will need the participation of their expertise. When we do it that way, then the political parties' manifestos must be in tandem with those national plannings. Otherwise, now you'll be seeing all manner of projects left uncontinued and so on and so forth. It is an eyesore, and actually it's causing financial loss because we sunk public funds in a particular place and we just abandon it because the past government was voted out of power. These are some of the sensitive areas that I think will be tackled. If you look at the constitutional reform, one strong area that we worked on was the Council of State. And if you look at our own traditional system, north, south, east, west, everywhere, no chief's council is appointed by the chief. Never. Not one area, whether the north or the middle belt or the south or west or east, never. Before the chief comes, the councillors are there. How are they there? They are Binkumihini, Nifahini, so and so hini, Neke Manche, and so on and so forth. So those people are not appointed by the chief. They will support him by the traditional means. But if the chief should go wayward, they will call him quietly and tell him, you can't go this way. Otherwise, we will not support you anymore. And you will see that it is a check. But here there are no checks and balances, because you appoint the majority of the members, or you influence the appointment of others in a certain way, and so on and so forth. I believe that when we put this into effect, it will help us. Do you believe that for the Council of State, former presidents are not even members? Former presidents. Why? Because Rawlings didn't want it. Why? Because he didn't want Liman to be on it. Whereas that had been provided already in the 1979 Constitution. I mean, these are all...
So you have proposed a number of important amendments. But the last question on this for you is, there's a debate as to whether the process should be executive-driven or legislature-driven. And indeed, we know that when Professor Oquaye went to court versus Attorney General, the Supreme Court ruled that any proposed amendment must return to Parliament for legislative endorsement under Article 290. I ask this question because you've been Speaker of Parliament, and in the first term of the Akufo-Addo government, he didn't seem too keen on constitutional review. In fact, it was in the second term that the then majority leader, through other efforts, even initiated a conversation. Would you say that the process needs to be Parliament initiated or executive? Because if an executive president doesn't have interest in constitutional review, particularly in his first term, because he doesn't want to reduce his own powers, it's going to be very difficult, right? And obviously, when I read your writings about this, if you had your way as Speaker, you would have asked for constitutional review very, very early. But it looks like there was executive dominance in that term, and therefore it was the second term that this became possible. What are your reflections on this point?
And this goes back to the first point you raised, actually, because we have put too much in the hands of the president. And when I say president, I don't mean any person, the presidency. And in fact, if you read the proceedings, you will get it clearly that presenter after presenter spoke about this. Men like Kwesi Pratt and others, they all came and they made very, very important contributions to this very effect. I believe that we should, after all, Parliament is the institution that makes the laws. The moment President Mills presented a white paper on that constitutional amendment proposals, he killed it. It became it was unfortunate. It became a political matter. A president cannot pick and choose what kind of amendments that he wants, because the others will just not agree. But we once more must build consensus. You realize that in all the constitutional the constitutions that we've had, there have always been some people who draft it, so that they sit apolitical, and then they bring a draft that seem to reflect the time as a whole. So I will say that if Parliament were driving this even more, and also the express issue are not just the appointment. I like Dr. Professor Frimpe's position there and so on. And in fact, many of the people there are fine people. But nevertheless, will the process begin on a note of consensus, so that both the both leading parties, including the other smaller parties, because the CPP, for example, had very, very useful proposals that they made in the process. All these will help us a lot. It must be bipartisan. It must not be seen to be one particular person's committee. It must be seen as one drawing from civil societies and think tanks, so that they'll bring the idea as a whole in that regard.
Wonderful. This is the point of view. Tonight we're speaking to Right Honorable Professor Aaron Michael Oquaye, statesman, former Speaker of Parliament, a man of many parts, reflecting on many things. When we come back, we'll delve into the natural resource governance issues. Ghana's lithium deal with the Berari DV was revised but has been withdrawn following sparked many criticisms. We'll discuss what was wrong with the original deal and why Ghana needs a new approach to that. We'll also look at some issues around prosecutions and attempts by the government to set up tribunals to deal with galamsey. Prof. Oquaye is concerned about some of those matters. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Unbelievable. Said you have a city and the Amama Kai or baby and home fair. Wow! Hello, Miss World.
Hello, Ajimara.
Now I hear now what to say.
Me who yo, madam for be ho our class. Many the year mother so.
Me nyanan kame wagana. Nanso me talk. Me no wiasia na mabe pie electronic shop bi a chese. Said you have a city no. Na ohunfo nyini ene shawo mani so say. Me ba better gold, diamond, jewels, nickels, pearls, blankets, everything. I'm a
Ajimara of international waters. Hey,
wow.
Obwa onya bochire bia.
Obwa wani breno.
Yenkwana me kocho.
It's a brochure any.
Sister, Electroland Ghana Limited showroom for Krani. Kasi Kumase, Omo when you say Samsung, TCL, Media, and a NASCO product. I don't know when you have Omo be able to say Kaswa, Asamai, Makasim, Tamale, Sprinters, Coca-Cola.
Ajimara, it's me na nkaba to chejuma kutu dia so me say bam.
Me private jet no kwa. E be see me na me ba. Let's bygone be bygone. Hey, enyema a mo pese mo yi no ha bia. Munyi
Yo, yebeyi.
Electroland Ghana, home of electronics and affordable luxury.
Hello? Hello, Auntie Abena. You won't believe what just happened. Grandma received her 4 TV. 4 TVs? Yes, 4.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm
not able to.
It's like a scandal now. You are using it to spread grandma like that. Spread grandma? 4 TVs, 2 fridges, microwave, why? Do you want to open an electrical shop for her?
Hey, no! It's a regular 100 cities I send her.
I'm sure it's Uncle Atu.
Let's call him.
Atu? Why?
Atu?
Why are you spreading a grandma with appliances?
Me? Spread who? When? How? Please, it could be Amma.
Let's call Amma.
Let me call her.
Hello?
Amma, why?
What are you saying?
Appliances for grandma, no. Why?
Hey, it's not me, oh.
There are some that are critical.
Let's call grandma.
Let's call grandma.
Hello? Hey, grandma. So who is buying all those stuff for you?
call me Granny Cash. Grandma know the joke, the luckiest. If they do me 5 hours per year. When I buy ticket 100 cedis, I pay them small or big. I automatically get my free gift.
Hey, sir! Yes, so with the luckiest, anytime you buy tickets up to 100 cedis, whether small or at once, you are guaranteed to win a free gift. TV sets, fridges, hampers, airtime, cash. Remember to dial *712#, choose option 4 and follow the prompt. With the luckiest, everybody wins. Even Granny Cash.
Papa no no, 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 Ankasa. Polytech is everywhere, durable and authentic. Stronger brand you can trust.
sumo, Rambo, and get sumo super, and the police challenge with it.
Polita, Papa no asa. Attention all State Housing Company Limited homeowners, landowners and clients. From November 3rd to December 31st, 2025, the State Housing Company Limited is giving you a 15% discount on all outstanding payments.
Oh yes, pay less on your ground rent, land regularization, lease renewals, consents to develop or assign and service charges, and secure your ownership today.
Visit any SHC office nationwide to make your payment in full to benefit from the 15% discount.
You can locate the State Housing Company Limited at Ring Road West, adjacent STC Yard and Accra Digital Center.
For more information, visit our website www.statehousing.gov.gh or call 0302 221 422 or 0552 725 656 or 0503 083 393. Remember, this offer ends December 31st, 2025. Don't wait, pay less today.
Welcome back. So tonight we're reflecting on important national issues with, I want to call him Speaker Mike Oquaye, but he's former Speaker, but once a Speaker, always a Speaker. Reflecting on national issues, our constitutional review efforts. The topic that you and the IEA have become very concerned about is natural resource governance, particularly the lithium deal. The government last week withdrew the agreement with Atlantic Lithium, following all the criticisms, because they had amended the deal, lower level of royalties. First and foremost, are you happy the deal has been withdrawn? Then from there we pick up to what you felt was wrong with the whole agreement.
And once more, you see that the IE has been apolitical. Last year, we had the same stand. This year, we have the same stand, irrespective of who is in power. Think tanks must help the country in that way. The present withdrawal is quite interesting because some people have viewed it in the context of the royalty percentage from 10% to 5%. But this 5% has been existing for some time. My brother, it's very, very painful to even envisage that we have something that is got value. Then we say, when you take this commodity which has got value, don't give me more than 5% of the value, but give me anything from 5% downwards. That's what the cap means. And who does that? Honestly, we have not been fair to our nation at all in terms of these gold, diamond, bauxite matters at all, because you cannot fix anything downwards. We have to go say, don't give it at least. I want at least 20%. But you cannot say, I don't want anything more than 5%. In other words, you cannot fix the lower limit and let that prevail. You have to go to the upper limit, or at least even leave it there for negotiations. So we looked at all these things long ago, and we made our own comments. But you know, it is not just the 5%. We are hoping that we are not going to consider whether it's 5% or 10% or 15% or 20%. We are not going to be interested in that still. We have got a new paradigm, we are saying. Ghana has been to the IMF 17 times. We are not able to do what government should do, mainly because we don't have enough resources. The IMF becomes a bailout situation when we are so cash strapped that we need their support. One, in order to attract further loans or assistance, and secondly, to also have some amount of money to serve as a bailout. I was reading this news summary. Ghana has signed 256 million debt restructuring agreement with the United Kingdom under the G20 Common Framework. The deal signed by Finance Minister Honorable Forson and UK Trade Commissioner for Africa Humphrey is Ghana's third bilateral agreement after similar deals with France and other countries. You will see that our financial income as against our output expenditure, they don't match. And I don't blame Honorable Forson at all. In fact, we will congratulate him for succeeding in getting some succor for the people of Ghana. It gives us a relief and to be able to survive. You ask yourself, then I saw the same paper. Ghana's long-held position as world's second largest cocoa producer is under threat, with Ecuador projected to overtake it by 2026-27.
Wow.
Ecuador currently produces over 400,000 tons of cocoa annually and could reach 650,000 tons, surpassing Ghana's 600,000 tons. So where are we? It appears on all fronts, just this small paper. You see, we are beleaguered on all fronts. We had reached 1 million tons. Now, Galamsey and other issues about lack of inputs and so on and so forth. I used to stay in the cocoa growing area, so I understand the Akati is destroying a number of cocoa trees, and we are not able to handle it. Now, if we look at this 17th time I am visits, you can see clearly that it cannot be our therapy. The trees have a very interesting statement. Edura bejewono atrema. Very short sentence. If the medicine will cure your ailment, it's only 1 spoon. Because, in other words, you will see the signs early.
You don't need it 17 times.
You don't need it 17 times. Edura bejewono atrema. So
IMF is not Edura in here.
That to tell you clearly, why?
So are you saying that the lithium agreement sort of feeds into the same problem that drives us to IMF, i.e.
That is it.
It gives us two. So, but Prof, some people feel like it's not even the royalties. We should be arguing over value addition. We should be arguing over setting up industries.
We don't even buy royalties at all. And we are saying that the era of royalties is gone.
Okay.
Royalties is a colonial heritage. When they started giving us royalties, actually, as colonized people, the gold belonged to the Queen of England or the King of England. So they give you something small because you are my colony, you are my property. What is there belongs to me. And they give us something small, Jiko Didi. That was the philosophy of royalties. And then they will change it a bit and adjust it small, but it is gone. These days, we are talking about ownership. You see, the people who come as investors don't come with loads of money to come and invest. This issue we are talking about, the lithium, Ghana has already put in $32 million. And we have contracted to put in another 50 or so. So we are putting in something. Atlantic has, we are told, spent some 80 million in the whole process. We don't know exactly what. I am saying there must be an ownership that takes into account all the equities to be on the table. In other words, we who own that thing called lithium, we value that one. And it is valuable. then your 80 million, even if it's verified, that also is taken into account. And then the 32 million we have already paid. And whatever else we are going to also pay, which we have paid from the minerals income and investment fund. We have this fund. We have put out all so much into it. Then we turn around and say, give us royalties. We don't have any control over the company. We don't know how it really even arrives at the end product. They are going to ship away the raw lithium. I'll come to the extra benefits later, the byproducts and so on. If we give this to them, then where are we? So we want to say that we need a situation that will make us honest, because after all, the thing that is called lithium is lying under the soil in Ghana.
So what structure do you propose? Because currently the main issue is that there appears to be capital from foreign companies and technical expertise to exploit.
Yes.
And so whether it's gold or diamond or lithium, that's the arrangement. You nominally own the resource. A foreign partner comes with capital to do exploration, and sometimes they start the production, and then they pay you royalties. You're saying that era is over. So are you saying we should form a company that's purely owned by Ghana?
Ghana
joint
Lithium
venture?
Ghana Lithium Corporation. And then they can buy a little into it. Because
so they can buy shares into it.
Exactly.
And then the equity they put in will be their percentage ownership. Okay.
Exactly. Because they have spent something. Ghanaians are not thieves. We're not going to take whatever. But we need a just system.
Which means that the agreement must be overhauled completely.
Totally. Now, I have here with me the new summary. This is Atlantic Lithium. They are saying the revised lease has been submitted to Parliament and referred to the Select Committee. They are talking about that which was withdrawn. That was a couple of days before it was withdrawn. To maintain financial stability, the company secured 2 funding agreements with Long State Investments Limited for up to 28 million pounds. So you see what is happening. They themselves are going with our guarantee, doing shopping for capital. That's why I made a statement that they don't have any money sitting there. No investor has. You need that document which shows that this is a bankable project. And when you have got that bankable project document and all the contracts showing the security of the contract that you have, money will abound. We raise the money in the international capital market. This is the essence of it. So now, from this, you can see when you read easily between the lines that Atlantic is going to use what? Our guarantees, our approval by Parliament to raise money. We must go and raise the money with them. Because in fact, we have even a better chance of raising money than them. Because we got it right down under our soil. So this kind of give it to the white man, sit aside, let him come and tell you how much he sent is a very dangerous thing. Let me add one thing. By way of the next issue that is raised. They say we don't have expertise. The capital will bring you of course, the technology. If you raise the money, you buy the equipment. Is that not so? All right. That tells you we can raise the money. But look at the fact that we really have the people who can do the job in Ghana. These are contract mining members of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Ghanaian people. African Mining Services, African Underground Mining Services, BCM Ghana Limited, Engineers and Planners, they are the number 1 actually. PW Mining International Ghana, Quantum LC Limited, Rabotech Ghana Limited, Ramoth Services, Rockshore International, Tonket Plant Pool, Underground Mining Alliance. In actual fact, if you go to Obuasi, Takwa, and all those places, you'll find that Ghanaians are doing the job. And Ghanaian engineers are doing, and companies like engineers and planners are doing the job for Ashanti Gold and others. They can do it. When it comes to certain management areas, management services now are contracted by international companies. In other words, all these difficulties about who to employ, and sometimes some of the tribalism, ethnicity, nepotism would go into it, you leave it to a foreign company.
So are you saying that these Ghanaian companies should play a role,
They
or
should
they
form-
should deliberately give it to them by way of consortium?
Yes, we should encourage a consortium.
A consortium of Ghanaian mining companies.
Exactly.
Or Ghanaian mining service providers.
Yes.
But where will they raise the capital? You believe they have?
I've told you the capital is the bankable project thing we've got.
So these
And
Ghanaian,
these people are going around also trying to raise the very capital.
so these Ghanaian companies
Will be assisted.
So we might even need Atlantic in your view.
No, we, in a way, we don't need them. But actually, we wouldn't chuck them out because they have spent something.
All right.
Whatever it is quantifiable by experts. And then we give them something. But Ghana must own it. This is what I'm really talking about. But you see, beyond ownership, and this goes more to the people of Australia,
Awoya.
They are a bit worried. I understand. I will plead with them. Be patient. You see, if we don't get the thing right, you will not maximize your benefits. You will not. It will be just small jikudidi benefits. If you look at the multiple benefits that come with this, it's fantastic. After this, I will talk about the fact that they say the prices are coming down. It's a joke. Now, control and refine, because we are now going to insist that we refine the product here. That itself will create proper jobs for them. Clean energy drive, and we will be getting credits, carbon credits, etc. Electric vehicles are coming. Now they're
already here.
Exactly. They are at the elementary stage. But it's going to be a thing of the years to come. And this is where we will see the importance of of it very much. You know, one other area that interests me more, ICT development. If you have battery, we can take computer studies to the most remote village in Ghana. Without power, we are not getting anywhere. But this lithium is the source of power for us. We'll go and buy power from them when they have taken all the raw material away and turned it into a very expensive commodity. That is not the time for us to go there. I was in India, and I know what battery type of things have generated power in the remote places. This is how their rural industries are working. Our rural industries will work in a different way because we have the lithium processed over here.
Okay.
I mentioned a little bit about the prices.
Yes.
You see, commodity prices are full of manipulation, and they are also uncertain. But that is where the risk lies. And I tell you, lithium is the future.
So the fact that the price is now lower than when the
Shouldn't worry
contract
anybody.
originally agreed should not push us into a quick
contract at all.
You believe the price will go up again?
It will go up. I made my little research. 2016, we are talking now about gold.
Yeah.
Gold, the ounce price was 1,500 per ounce. Nobody would have thought that in 2016, by 2024, this will have shot up to 2,500. Today, it is 3,500.
In 8 years.
Dramatic. And all these things should rather be signs of encouragement for us and not for
desperation
at all. If we don't take our time, we shall be seriously changed and we shall go back to the IMF.
This is still the point of view. We're talking to Professor Michael Oquaye. When we come back, we'll deal with Panda because the Tamale High Court annulled the 2024 parliamentary election results and ordered a rerun of the election. We'll deal with those issues and also some concerns around setting up of certain tribunals ostensibly to deal with Galamsey. Prof is concerned that we need more clarity on that. These and more when we come back. Stay with us.
In December 2023, the biggest play in the history of African theatre made its debut.
Before Oquaye, the God of Iron, I stand on oath.
You saw it.
We sent you all the way to Ileife to bring us greetings from Ifa.
By popular demand and in honor of Maoli Sandovo, Image Bureau, in partnership with April Communications and the National Theatre, presents The Gods Are Not to Blame. This December 17th, 7 p.m., 18th, 7 p.m., and 19th, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the National Theatre. Visit www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *714*46# for your tickets. Single 250 cedis, double 400 cedis. Supported by New Plant Car Rentals, Ghana Tourism Authority, Balakwa. Sponsors Stanbic Bank, our media partners, and proudly brought to you by MTN.
Hello? Hello, Auntie Abena. You won't believe what just happened. Grandma received her 4 TV. 4 TVs? Yes, 4.
Okay, I'm coming. It's like a scandal now. You are using it to spread grandma like that. Spread grandma? 4 TVs, 2 fridges, microwave. Abba, Kojo, why? Do you want to open an electrical shop for her?
Hey, no! It's a regular 100 cedis I send her.
I'm sure it's Uncle Atu.
Let's call him.
Atu? Why?
Atu?
Why are you spreading a grandma with appliances?
Me? Spread who? When? How? Please, oh, it could be Amma.
Let's call Amma.
Let me call her.
Hello?
Amma, why?
What are you saying?
Appliances for grandma, no. Why?
Hey, it's not me, oh.
Some are critical.
Let's call grandma.
Let's call grandma.
Hello? Hey, grandma. So who is buying all those stuff for you?
Call me Granny Cash. Grandma know the joke, the luckiest. If they do me 5 and 5 here. When I buy ticket 100 cedis, I pay them small or big. I automatically get my free gift.
Hey, sir! Yes, so with the luckiest, anytime you buy tickets up to 100 cedis, whether small or at once, you are guaranteed to win a free gift. TV sets, fridges, hampers, airtime, cash. Remember to dial *712#, choose option 4 and follow the prompt. With the luckiest, everybody wins. Even Granny Cash.
Welcome back. This is still the point of view. We're speaking to Right Honorable former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Oquaye, looking at a number of issues. We're turning attention to a big issue now. The Tamale High Court annulled the 2024 parliamentary election results and ordered a rerun of the Panda election. Now, this is very controversial because as we speak, there are 2 cases. There's a High Court matter and also a Supreme Court matter that the MP, or the former MP, if you want to use that expression, has taken up. Already, the Parliament has declared the Panda seat vacant, and the EC has proposed a by-election date for 30th December. Now, some quick background to this. The NDC candidate for Panda, Daniel Nsala Wakbal, on December 23, filed a petition at the Tamale High Court challenging the EC's declaration of Mr. Nyindam as MP for the constituency. He alleged that the result of the parliamentary elections as declared by the EC was invalid due to some irregularities and inconsistencies contained in some of the pink sheets. The former MP argued that the Form A for 41 out of the 152 polling stations contained some inconsistencies and irregularities. He added that the election held on December 7 was inconsistent with Regulation 39 of the Public Elections Regulation, CI 127, as well as the principles laid down by Regulations 39 that's affecting the outcome of the elections. After examining the evidence, the court agreed with the petitioner, ruling that the level of non-compliance materially affected the outcome of the poll. It subsequently ordered the EC to organize a new parliamentary election in the constituency to determine the rightful winner. Context for this: NDC prior to this has 185 parliamentary seats, MPP has 87, and there are 4 independent. So with the declaration of Panda as being vacant, that reduces MPP to 86. If NDC wins this by-election, they will go to 186. That means they have 100 parliamentary seats more than MPP and 4 independent. First and foremost, before even the law, how concerning is it for you in terms of the skew of the parliament we have? Because the previous parliament had 137. Now we have 185 and 87. Almost 100. Indeed, the 4 independents say they are with the majority. So there's a hard 2/3 in a competitive election. This is unprecedented because in the 93 it wasn't a competitive, there was no opposition. So again, even before we get into the law, this is very serious for our democracy. How do you interpret that?
It's a very interesting situation. I will put it interesting situation. But if you remember the Labour Party in Britain, before New Labour was brought about by Tony Blair and others, the party was really in a dissipated mood. And the majority of the Conservatives was such that you would think they would never come back. But that is the nature of politics. I believe that the totality of events prior to that election put the MPP in a very, very difficult situation. And I will leave it at that. What really interests me, because as for the large majority, it's already a fait accompli. So there's nothing much one can do about it at this time. But I don't really look at it so much in terms of the fact that numbers are required desperately. No. But what is the principle of what is happening? The suit was such that a plaintiff went to court seeking a certain remedy with regard to certain specific areas where they said there was some malpractice or whatever it was, misdoing. Then they had judgment not only for the rerunning of those few polling stations, but for the election as a whole. It is very, very difficult to imagine by what kind of application of law this decision was arrived at. Because the people went looking for a goat, they came back with a cow by way of what was presented to them by that legal pronouncement. Therefore, they are aggrieved, and they have not even gone on to the Supreme Court to have that whole document by way of the judgment quashed. They have also appealed, and they have filed a stay of execution pending the appeal. I can assure you, in all my legal practice, I never heard of a situation whereby, notwithstanding the pendency of a stay of execution application, a person is nevertheless allowed to go into execution. In fact, we have had certain developments in the law in Ghana. There was a time when an appeal stayed automatically as to prevent execution. And when you filed an appeal, it will automatically prevent the other party from going to execution. Then we saw that that thing was being abused. Some people just filed an appeal by way of what I may call an injunction, in the sense that it will restrain you from going any further. But they won't even prosecute the appeal because they don't believe in the appeal. Therefore, the rules were changed. It says you may not only file an appeal, but you may also file an application for stay of execution. When a matter is so before a court of competent jurisdiction, it is contempt of that court. It's an illegal act if you should proceed beyond further to make a nullity of the obvious ruling that will come. I want to read something here for you. In a case in which a number of before the Supreme Court over this same matter, the majority central argument that is filed by the majority leader in Parliament is that CI 132 amended Rule 27 of CI 19 in such a manner that the mere filing an application for stay of execution no longer operates as a stay, and that execution may therefore proceed. With respect, I am not persuaded at all. Because if you look at what the law has done for us all, in any case, Justice Bafo himself, Chief Justice of the Republic now, in the well-known case which he himself also gave this ruling, I want to read a bit of it for you. It is a natural sequence in civil trials that once a person feels aggrieved by any of a trial court, be it interlocutory or final, he has the right to appeal to a higher body by filing a notice of appeal. It is provided by all the rules of court, namely High Court Civil Procedure Rules 2004 CI 47, the Court of Appeals Rules 1997 CI 19, and the Supreme Court Rules 1996 CI 16, that an appeal in itself does not operate as a stay of execution. That is so. However, he goes on, the same rules provide that when an application for stay of execution is pending for hearing, it stops execution until the same is heard and dismissed. The relevant provisions in CI 19 Rule 27.2 reads, where an application for stay of execution is pending, for determination under sub-rule 1, the proceedings for execution of the judgment or decision to which the application relates shall be stayed.
So this is the current CJ's.
Exactly, shall be stayed. I've read him. Seriatim. Assuming two people are contesting a court case over a building, the plaintiff has won at the High Court. The defendant appeals to the Court of Appeal. Before the appeal is heard, and also whilst an application for stay of execution before that court is heard, the person who had a judgment now moves over there and then sells the house, and then take the money away because he has been allowed. What do you think will happen? That means he has forestalled, he has undermined the legal process that would have done justice. At the moment, they have put even the Electoral Commission into a very difficult situation, in that the Electoral Commission, if the commission, the chairman or whoever goes ahead and breaks this law, that person can be jailed for contempt.
But they are just following Parliament, because Parliament declared the seat vacant. So that was automatically triggered by the actions of Parliament. So the original sin, if your point is to be taken, would have been committed by the legislature.
Well, but that is also another issue. The legislature, but actually what I read or I heard what the speaker said earlier, I don't know where this letter is coming from, honestly.
Because he initially gave a 1 week.
No, you see, the 1 week stay is automatic by law. And that also has got a reason, is that also?
Yeah.
It is to allow you to do whatever you want to do by way of an appeal or whatever. Because if we leave the courtroom and then immediately they go and execute it, bailiffs are following, and then go and execute it, then how will an appeal be meaningful? That appeal will be rendered odious because it will have no effect. In fact, if so, then the provision in this constitution giving the Ghanaian a right of appeal will be null and void. Because anytime you win a case, all you have to do now is to say, well, I've won the case.
So if I hear you right, the original problem is Parliament's declaration of the vacant seat when there was clearly an appeal pending.
Yes. And that is why you realize that in the cases of Rebecca Adote, Honorable Abudakpi, Honorable Sankara, Honorable Jesse Kwesin, and this particular one, in all those cases, there was a stay of execution.
Fair enough.
And in fact, I had a personal experience of some, in the Jesse Kwesin's case, there were so many applications. On one occasion, Jesse Kwesin had lost an application before one of the courts. And then immediately there was an attempt to say that execution must therefore be entered into and for him to be chopped out of Parliament. I said, no, it is within my knowledge that he has got some application before the Supreme Court, and I'm not prepared to go and stand in the Supreme Court for contempt. You see, because the moment you forestall a court which is going to hear a case, just because you have won the case below and you are aware that he has filed an application for stay, stay means stay.
Fair enough. I just wanted to point out, without equalizing, that some people point to what happened with the Auditor General Daniel Demolevu. Somebody had challenged his nationality and he had been asked to retire. There was a Supreme Court matter that had not been determined. The then president removed him and replaced him. So if we are saying that court processes must be obeyed, in that instance you can say the executive rendered the final vindication of Domelevo odious, because he also, it was determined by the Supreme Court that his removal was illegal. By the time he had been replaced, and when the matter was finally dispensed with, he had already passed retirement age. So people point to these precedents by way of some sort of political equalization.
I don't know whether there was a stay of execution application before the Supreme Court. I don't know. So I will not be able to comment on that matter. But definitely, if there was a stay of execution application during the pendency of that case in a court of competent jurisdiction, it will be illegal to proceed in a way that will undermine the ultimate decision that the court might come to. Just like what I've just told you, assuming the person now runs away with the house, sells it the following day, and leaves the jurisdiction or whatever, when the person wins the case, what are you going to tell him? In other words, you must always give room. And if this kind of equalization tool comes in, then analysts and commentators must condemn both.
So by way of legal pathway, should the MPP sue Parliament for not respecting the stay and the pendency of the Supreme Court judgment, or take part in the election? Because the date has been set by the EC. So what should an aggrieved person do in this case?
Well, I don't know what really has happened as of today, but the person aggrieved, the aggrieved person, can ask that anybody who was involved in this must be dealt with. And also they can take it for certiorari to quash that declaration by the Electoral Commission. And I'm told that elections really cost so much money. So one must be very, very careful. Otherwise, the Electoral Commission people might be guilty of financial loss.
But why the EC and not Parliament? Because the original challenge, the EC was just following what Parliament declared. Because the Parliament declared the seat vacant, after which the EC moved into. So it was not the EC that interpreted the law. It was Parliament through the Speaker, and that letter that was read, that led to that position.
If it were me as an electoral commissioner, I would look at whether there's a case pending before a court of competent jurisdiction.
Irrespective of what the Speaker has declared.
Because he cannot exonerate you.
But why? Aren't you supposed to say
Because when you go to court for contempt, they say, are you aware that there is this case before me or before us in this court? The answer is your answer. And if you are aware, you must not do anything to render an adjudication of that court of competent jurisdiction be of no effect.
Well,
make it otiose.
Once the seat has been declared vacant, the EC has no choice.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has no choice. Because you see, that declaration may not be legal.
So let somebody challenge that declaration.
Well,
that's not the EC job. Because the EC...
I've told you what I would do if I were EC. If I were EC.
But are we not having a clash between the legislature and the judiciary all over again? Which seem to, again, have become a major issue in the previous Parliament.
I think...
It seems to be that the Parliament and the court have had this tango that we are not resolving. And it's not this... Even the 8th Parliament had that. Not even this 9th one.
And it must... If there's any such problem, it must stop. Because now I have no doubt in my mind that the only pathway to justice, the administration of the law, you cannot have a judgment and then during the pendency of an appeal and an application which may go either way, you take any step that will render nugatory the ultimate
Let me
decision
make
of the
it more
court.
interesting for you. You quoted the CJ, and I have nothing against the CJ. But even he can be said to have been a beneficiary of this breach, because the former CJ has cases pending in relation to her removal. Those processes have not been exhausted.
I don't think...
I
don't think I want to go...
No, I'm saying that if you just read his own... I'm not asking you to comment on his personal...
okay, fine.
What I'm saying is that...
Then it's your comment.
No, I'm providing that to enrich the discussion, that the former CJ had not exhausted all her appeals, and yet her removal process was consummated by his appointment. And the judiciary, as constituted now, is headed by a man who benefited from the same thing. Is that not?
What I know is that the law is very clear. It is the law in any civilized society. Otherwise, we should remove the right of appeal from our constitution. Otherwise, there's no appeal anymore. In fact, if nothing happens in this matter, the constitution which provides for the right of appeal will itself become nugatory.
Do you think MPP should take part in a by-election on the basis of all
that one is, well, I don't know whether it's a political or a legal question, but I'm interested in the legal arena.
But shouldn't the political question derive from the legality? Because that's a party of lawyers. So obviously the political decision to contest should be based on some legal grounding.
Because if the act is now what you regard as an illegality, then you may as well concentrate on declaring it as a nullity. But because this can be very, very embarrassing, you know. You may elect one member of parliament, you go there only for the court to say, no, you have no business being here, get out of here, and then for the other person to be restored.
But if the original candidate takes part, has he not endorsed the so-called illegality?
No, well,
because if Mr. Nyindam decides to contest in this election, which we are told he has expressed interest in contesting.
In the law, we say you are doing something entirely without prejudice.
Meaning what?
Meaning you don't accept the situation, but out of the abundance of caution, you still want to participate.
Without prejudice?
Yes, without prejudice.
We'll take a break without prejudice and come up with our final talking point. Stay with us.
National Thanksgiving Service for Ghana. Hallelujah. Is there Alpha 2025. Basso Mimneda, 20th December was 10,000 crying. And no panels on 7 a.m. Team. Let everything that has breath praise the Lord. Psalm 150 verse 6. Mumma dia huminyina enye radiaye. Music ministers, award-winning minister Selina Boateng, NKG, DJ Paloma, and others. Mawafadienye bibia Ghana huasha sudiewemu. Aglo International penny for Tunsafro bibia. But Aforibo Kessia 2025 Saturday 20th December was 10,000 crying. Anopanon song. Kai Nafa Vuvuzela, tambourine, white handkerchief. Whistle, any bibia diye radia yebra, near him and sa and share radia ni mwenyam. I hope be glorious, be aglow for Jesus.
In December 2023, the biggest play in the history of African theatre made its debut.
The God of Iron, I stand on oath.
You saw it.
We sent you all the way to Ileife to bring us greetings from Ifa.
By popular demand and in honor of Maoli Semevo, Image Bureau, in partnership with April Communications and the National Theatre, presents The Gods Are Not to Blame. This December 17th, 7 p.m., 18th, 7 p.m., and 19th, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the National Theatre. Visit www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *714*46# for your tickets. Single 250 cedis, double 400 cedis. Supported by Newplant Car Rentals, Ghana Tourism Authority, Balakwa. Sponsors Stambic Bank, our media partners, and proudly brought to you by MTN.
Welcome back. Tonight we're talking to former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Oquaye, a distinguished IEA fellow. We've discussed constitution review. We've looked at the lithium deal and Ghana's arrangements with the IMF. We've also examined the current issues with the Panda and the pending by-election. Let's talk about Cabinet approving the Public Tribunals Bill. Now, this story was brought to us barely a month ago, where President John Mahama revealed that Cabinet had approved the Public Tribunals Bill, a move aimed at accelerating the prosecution of illegal mining galamsey cases across the country. The introduction of the Public Tribunals Bill, as explained by the President, was expected to strengthen the country's resolve to clamp down on galamsey activities and reinforce the government's commitment to safeguarding the environment. Speaking during a meeting with the Christian Council at the Jubilee House on November 18, the President said the new bill will empower public tribunals to handle galamsey-related offences, easing the pressure on such cases placed on traditional court system and ensuring quicker, more efficient justice delivery. Ordinarily, this should be seen as a good news. Do you have any concerns?
Oh, definitely. I've researched a lot on and written on the public tribunals during the revolutionary years. At the moment, I noted carefully that they are meant to deal with galamsey. You see, when you tell Ghanaians this, well, we want galamsey matters to be dealt with expeditiously. But is that all? Because of this, I researched for a copy of the law. Unfortunately, it's not available anywhere. And if that is so, then they must say it, and it must also appear in the law itself as a galamsey court. But because you cannot tell the public this is the intention for which this is being done, whereas that is not translated into the law that will ultimately come out. Therefore, it is a point to flag. I don't like replication of institutions. Are we going to now build or rent houses for the tribunals when the courts, circuit courts, high courts, magistrate courts are sitting under sheds in some places? Go to Fankadua Court and you see what is happening over there, for example. Then what are you going to build for them? Now, I hear that we are going to have one professional as a chairman of the tribunal and also two others. So it will be like a jury to assist so you realize that there are going to be more people employed. 3 in each instance employed. Apart from the court clerks who will also now be employed separately. When are you going to put all these things into effect? When? I think that we must go with the courts now existing and improve them. The buildings, the staff, all should become judicial service people. And you know, there's also a history to the tribunal idea. In fact, you realize that even though there's a provision that will allow it in the Constitution, quietly, even Rawlings himself did not touch it. And he did not establish tribunals. It's like, let sleeping dogs lie. Because there was, I'm told, during the constitutional discussions time, there was a lot of wrangling between him and Justice Annan over this tribunals matter. And Justice Annan advised that it should be left there just as to placate Rawlings, who also had assured that he won't go any further with it. But to be removing all those things, he didn't feel comfortable about it.
So even if it's restricted to galamsey, you still have concerns about the history of tribunals and what it evokes.
Yes. So now we have courts. Some time ago, when we were talking about the delays in the court system, I said in India, at one time, what they did was 2 judges or magistrates to 1 court. The morning court and the afternoon court. So if you have a case 8 to 12, you came 8 to 12.
But Prof, seeing that galamsey is such a national emergency and the court system itself is slow, so one can see reason why there's need for urgency. So would you say that if the tribunals are restricted to galamsey cases, would you be a bit more comfortable?
If they are exclusively galamsey, then it means they'll be temporary. Is that also to deal with a situation for now?
Okay.
And then they are no more. That is a temporary thing about that. If it's only for galamsey,
then it's temporary.
Then it has got a temporary.
So if you get that assurance, you are okay.
I should think that that can be tolerated, but nevertheless, creating special courts for special situations offends a general principle, that is, putting people before the ordinary courts of the land. And that's why I would rather say that if they are going to be like circuit courts, then let us build those courts.
Fair enough.
Those buildings, those rooms, whatever, let us give them to the courts. Particularly assigning galamsey cases to them.
Let's come to some point you raised last week. You were not very enthused about the setting up of the OSP. I recall when you were speaker, you literally washed your hands of the matter because you didn't want replication of institutions.
I don't like replications.
But some people say that the OSP is there for a special type of offense. And they are also saying the very fact that it is the political class that is opposing the OSP is actually the reason why civil society should support it. Because the only people who have said OSP as an institution should go are the political elite. And don't forget, OSP is to target corruption by politically exposed people. For the rest of us who are not politicians, the office has a role to play because the control of the executive in the way the AG is set up doesn't apply to it that directly.
4 years, what role has he played? What are the results?
But 30 years, what role has AG played?
You know,
in fighting corruption. You know, if you are going to measure the usefulness of an institution by and I'm pushing you here, by what it has resolved. We've had an AG in this form since 1993. So if you're going to ask what OSP has done in 4 years, shouldn't you be asking how many corruption cases has AG prosecuted in 30 years?
You know, I have a fear that may come to be someday. The Constitution itself, Article 88(3), the Attorney General shall be responsible for the initiation and conduct of all prosecutions of criminal cases. 4, all offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. When he has not authorized, and recently we saw the difficulties between him and the special prosecutor, a time may come when people will go to court and have their convictions quashed because of who prosecuted them. It can happen on legal technicality. So we see, we must look at strengthening the institutions. In this country, there was a DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions, known as J.K. Daku. He was a very, very efficient and powerful man. He came from somewhere on the mountains there. Sincere, honest, diligent, and he prosecuted a lot of corrupt and other cases that were not easily prosecuted.
We can't depend on exceptional human beings. Isn't there a difference between initiating? So if the AG can acquiesce to a prosecution, I think that the uniqueness of the OSP is in its independence in prosecution. Because even if you are a Jekedaku, who is a DPP, you are directly under the AG and you can be changed. Yeah. But an OSP can still have the acquiescence of an AG to say, this case can proceed, but in the operation of the prosecution, he does it independently. So we must separate the source and the initiation from the execution of the actual prosecution, which I believe the OSP distinctly has, which is why he's listed a number of cases that they are currently pursuing of various corruption cases. So we need to see it in that nuance.
These proliferations lead to all manner of authorities being shown all over the place. Now, how can a person, an institution, a prosecuting body, ask that the accused person who has been granted bail should bring his personal property as the security for the bail? It means now you are, if you are a poor person who hasn't got property, can you be bailed? You see, people are...
But are excessive bail conditions unique to the OSP? The bail conditions imposed are a practice of Ghana's prosecutorial system, irrespective of who is the OSP.
No, that office has introduced a new element.
Is it?
Yeah, the new element. The new element of property as a condition
Landed
for bail.
property.
Landed property as a condition for bail, yes.
Because you are dealing with corruption of a politically exposed kind, and you're looking at essentially appropriating public funds privately.
That is a good point, and that is to let you therefore ask, was Mr. Kwebu being investigated for a corruption case?
We can't say that.
Exactly.
So that was an overreach.
So what is he doing?
But you can cure that without removing the office.
But you see, I'm saying that these proliferations, they bring problems. Strengthen the prosecuting institution. And that is my view.
There's a lot of pressure on the NDC government around prosecutions. A number of cases have started, and many people feel that Attorney General is being too slow. And therefore, that places political pressure on the AG, which is why sometimes he even does these press conferences to announce the offenses. So in a way, when you politicize corruption, the answer may be the OSP, because the AG is under pressure from his party. I see when you watch his press conferences, where he's always
under pressure to prosecute or not to prosecute?
To prosecute offending people from the previous government.
Let him go ahead.
You should go ahead.
No, because see, there are many cases that are being flagged, and people are also being told that, look, there's no foundation for prosecution. Allegations and counter allegations are becoming too many in this country. If you have a case, go ahead. Because you will realize that many of these cases, at the end of it, you won't get any end result. Because they say. And of course, if there are some that are really prosecutable, they should be prosecuted.
But with a number of corruption cases against former government officials, how concerned about the effect of that on the image of the MPP? The finance minister, there's so many cases, the national service.
In actual fact,
there's a lot of them.
In actual fact, there are times when casualties occur to sanitize. Casualties do occur. The end result may be sanitization. If that is the case, and there's a genuine case, sure, they should be prosecuted.
And you think that political party will be the better off for it?
Yes, that's why I talk about sanitization. Yeah. There are times when you must put some hot water on the sore before you can really...
Do you think the party can make a comeback in 2028?
Oh, I think so. It's possible. But it's not going to be easy lying there. No.
Is the early Congress, is the early Congress a good decision?
I just want to let you realize one thing. There is the need to bring some principles in our politics, no matter what. And when certain sanitation is needed, it must occur. And I mean that with all my heart. Because without that process, you will not be able to see through the maze that is covering things up. I will leave it at that.
We will leave it like that, without prejudice. Professor Michael Oquaye has been talking to us on a number of issues. He's been discussing the constitutional review process, Ghana's approach towards extracting its lithium and other natural resources. We've also dealt with the controversial Panda matter, and we've dealt with the OSP, as we have also concluded on the prosecution of alleged corruption. He says, let the sanitization occur. That is what will help to redeem our politics. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching tonight's edition of The Point of View. We will see you next time. Have a good evening.